So I'm going to be sharing with you just a tiny handful of some declassified operations that are now available on the internet, have been available on the internet to the public. And as more and more information comes out about the US government and what it's actually been up to, not just our government, but the powers that be on the entire earth, what they have all been up to, and what we have been told are completely contrary. History as we know it, we have all heard that it is written by the victors, by the ones in power. And I would say that that's absolutely true. And now it's becoming a reality to people because they speaking of the powers that be, admit they are declassifying and showing the public what they have actually been up to. And so this might affect some people who are patriotic at heart, who love this country of America, and who have probably fought in wars for this country, or they've been told for our safety. And this video is not to offend them. This video is not to offend anybody patriotic, because I am an American. And what I mean by that is I do appreciate some of the liberties and freedoms that I still have, which I look at the simple things: being able to walk down the street, grab something to eat, hang out with some friends, maybe look at some pretty girls at the beach, and have a place where I can go and sleep and lay my head. Although the cost of living is outrageous, and the way everything is run is criminal by the government, I will say that I am still happy to be in this country rather than another country. But with that being said, what does that mean as a Christian? Does that mean that I should rush off, join the military, and run into another country with a gun in my hand, killing people, whoever? Or does that mean simply leading a peaceable life in this country and paying my taxes? How far, where do we draw the line from being a Bible-believing Christian to being a patriotic American? Where are those boundaries? What should we be actually participating in as far as our patriotical duties? Is it war, continuous war, and continuous killing? I think the death toll in Iraq and Afghanistan is in the millions. And this is not self-defense. This is invading another country for a New World Order agenda, in my opinion. The whole earth will be ran by one system, one government, the Antichrist system. Or is it something else? Is it just leading our peaceable lives, spreading the gospel, and paying our taxes? So let's take a look at these declassified operations. So here we have Operation Paperclip. This is one of the first ones that I found out about a few years ago, and I was completely blown away. But after you start learning about the truths of this world, it's not that big of a shocker anymore. Basically, what it was is the U.S. government giving over 1,000 Nazi scientists immunity to come to this country and participate in our scientific world, which now actually Wernher von Braun became famous for the rockets in this country as an American icon, and he's actually an ex-Nazi. I actually know that. A war criminal who did horrendous things to people in the name of science, but it's probably a lot deeper than that. And this one is major because Nazis basically head up NASA and our scientific program in this country. Next on the list, we have Operation Northwoods. This was also a very big one to me because basically what Operations Northwoods was going to be was a false flag on this country. And what a false flag attack is basically when the government of your country perpetrates terrorist acts against its own people, but blames it on another country to start a war. And in the most simplest way, that's exactly what it is, a false flag attack. And Operation Northwoods was a planned false flag attack to start a war with Cuba. It did not happen. However, when you read the details of Operation Northwoods, boy, oh boy, does it sound like 9/11 to the T. Crashing airplanes into buildings, attacking military and U.S. civilians. And there's some more details if you want to read about that. Next up, we have Operation Mockingbird. Was a fully implemented CIA program to spread disinformation throughout American media. CIA Director William Colby testified to the Church Committee that over 400 CIA agents were active in the U.S. media to control what was reported through American mainstream television, newspapers, and magazines. This one shouldn't be that big of a shocker to anybody these days, although mainstream people have just barely woken up to fake news because of Trump's statements. However, Operation Mockingbird was implemented well over 30 years ago and has been running strong ever since then. What is done in the dark is now being brought to light through the internet and through its own people. For some reason, these satanic people, New World Order people, are telling the American public what they have been up to, what they are up to. So that was just 3 declassified operations that I have known about for years that, in my opinion, are some of the most pertinent declassified operations that you could look up. However, there are probably hundreds of them. I know there's many, many more declassified operations that they have. It's all over the internet. You can do the research yourself. And what you're going to find out, now, this is not meant to offend anybody, but what you're going to find out is that the Bible is true and that men are liars. When the Apostle Paul tells us in Galatians chapter 1, verse 4, that we are in a present evil world, that doesn't mean we are in a present evil world except for America. When the Apostle Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians 4, 3 and 4 that Satan is the God, small g, of this world, that doesn't mean that he is the God of this world except for America. My friends, what I have come to find out as a Bible believer, a Christian, saved, is that we have a perception of reality, a perception of America that has been built off of untruths. The simple fact is that they have an agenda and they mask it. They get the people to gather up and follow them through this false pretense of patriotism. They get thousands and thousands of brave men, courageous men who have good intentions to line up to fight for their agendas. And a lot of people that's going to bother. But I'm not in the popularity business as a King James Bible believer. Not amongst patriotic Americans and not even amongst Bible-believing Christians. Being a right divider of the Bible, a King James only believer of the Bible, that doesn't that doesn't qualify me as the popular guy in the neighborhood. I'm just passing along the information. I'm just passing along the information. The old saying, don't kill the messenger. Don't hate the messenger. Well, don't hate me. Don't get angry. Research for yourself before you go out and get into fights and arguments and maybe even apply to go to another country and fight and kill for ideas that are not the realistic ideas, for things that you think you are going for, to fight for and to argue for and to battle for, but are actually not is not the real reason behind all of it. I'm making this video simply for people to look deeper than just what we've been told, because the information is out there, and it's always been in our Bible. It's always been in our Bible. The fact is that slavery didn't end until about 160 years ago. Up until 160 years ago, roundabout, it was legal to own another person in this country that we call America. You can beat them, you can do whatever you wanted to them because they were considered property. So, again, I'm not trying to bash America or Americans, because I am an American, and I do believe that it is my duty to, if being attacked on American soil, defend this country. But is it my duty to sign up to go to a foreign country under a false pretense or a false flag attack like 9/11 and go kill millions of people, just bomb cities? No, that's not my patriotic duty. That's not my biblical duty. And in fact, that should be nobody's idea of patriotism. Although many people do it because they just don't know. They just don't know what's going on. And so, please do your own research. Please look at what the Bible has to say about these times that we're in, because it is very diverse. A bill of goods sold to us as patriotism in one hand, to Christians, and then the Bible, the King James Bible, truths about these times in another hand. And which one do? Well, we should always look at what the Bible has to say first, what the Apostle Paul and his pattern for today has to say first. And thank you guys for listening. God bless.